Ramadan Mubarak and welcome to the second edition of Majlis. What is justice, compassion, equality? We might have used these terms before, but sometimes we don't know what it truly means. Our next guest has been at the forefront of exploring such crucial topics. So let's welcome Reem Al-Zadjali. Reem, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, and I know you made time for us, and I know you have a busy schedule, but we thank you from the bottom of our heart for making this happen.
Thank you.
So let me start with your inspiration. What inspired you to pick this field?
I chose to study law or pick this field since a young age. So I always thought like I wanted to be do something meaningful for the society and use it as a tool to uphold justice and to help with fairness within the society.
Right. So what I meant was, because it's a month of Ramadan, it's a holy month. Since you picked this field, how has that shaped you as a person when it comes to topics like fairness, justice, and how has that shaped your perspective?
My perspective changed within the years. Once I had more and more experience, you realize that fairness is not something that we thought it would be. Because, for example, let's say that I get a case and some clients are the ones who are being unfair, and then he is your client. But the good thing is that we have a choice whether to handle the case or not handle the case. So sometimes many of the lawyers would handle cases where the person is being unfair, right, and their excuse is they're doing their job. If we look at it globally, after let's say October 7th, right, fairness and the meaning of fairness has changed with reality, because it's usually like now we can see that fairness is selective. And it has a lot of impacts. You could say that it has an impact with the economic impact, political impact, even within our own society. There is like a social impact even with the word fairness. So it's not something that we usually thought of the meaning. And even if we look at it, like we look at human rights and the international conventions, and the child protection laws and everything, it's not universal. It is selective, unfortunately, and it's a pity.
Right. So what sets Oman apart from, based on the justice system, the law system that we have here with the global scale, what sets this country apart from the other places in the world?
Under the Omani state law, we're all equal, and this is what makes a difference.
Right.
And you can see this within the courts, within the hearings, within the verdicts, that everyone is equal. So there is no discrimination. And this is, I think, what sets us apart maybe from other cultures or other countries.
Mm-hmm. Right. Ramadan is a time of reflection and strengthening family bonds. What are some key legal rights that you believe women should be more aware of, especially in this month?
In this month? It should be in every month. So women and men should always be aware of their rights. Women have a lot of rights that they need to be aware of in order for them to have a stable life, not to worry about other things. Like, for example, it can start off even with the consent to marriage. She has the right to consent to a marriage. Within a divorce, she has the right to divorce if she's feeling endangered or she's facing any damages, if she's being physically abused, or blackmailed, she has a right to go and claim with the police. Women have a lot of rights, financial rights, rights of custody of the child. A lot of women are not aware of their rights of custody, so they stay within like an abusive marriage because they're worried to lose their children. They have, as I stated before, financial rights, rights of child support, rights of alimony for even if she was married while she's not getting it, inheritance rights. There's a lot of rights that women need to know. And now women don't have any excuse not to know these because everything is available even online. Yeah. And there's a lot of law firms who can help them. It's just a phone call to get in a legal advice. Mm-hmm. So there is no reason. I think education plays a big part in this. Women tend to become stronger. They understand the laws more once they're educated. We tend to get some cases where the women are not educated. They don't have degrees, school certificates, even high school certificates. So they tend to stay in an abusive relationship because they don't have any financially stable or independent.
Have you noticed a shift in how people approach legal disputes in Oman? Because it keeps continuing. Like you said, law keeps changing. We are changing as people. So with an economy that places tradition first, right, do you see more openness in settlements and alternative resolutions?
As a lawyer, we're always open to settlements first because it's more time effective for us. It's less costly for the clients, and less stressful. But globally, you can see that people are tending to go to, other dispute resolutions than courts. It's more time effective. It could be more expensive sometimes with, for example, arbitration. They have other options such as mediation. And the reasoning, I believe, for that, and I'm speaking about Oman, for example, it takes quite a long time to get a final verdict. Obviously, you know that there's 3 stages of court. There's a primary, there's the appeal, and there's the Supreme Court. Some of the cases could also go back to the appeal court and then again to the Supreme. So it all takes quite a long time. And the reason for that is to make sure that the verdicts or the final verdicts are fair and everything has been included. And because of the length of the period, a new law was released in 2020 to simplify the legal procedures. And I'm against some of the things that were issued. A whole stage of the Supreme Court has been deleted through the system. And as I said before, the only reason why we have 3 stages, as you can see in every single stage, there is judges who have more and more experiences, and the number of judges increase to ensure fairness. So I'm not with deleting a whole stage in court. For example, like labor cases, the simplified legal procedures, they can apply on the labor cases. So you've got 2 stages, the primary and the appeal court. And then you've got some of the criminal cases, like the check rebound cases. It's also applicable in that. And you've got the international investors companies, where they're demanding for the amount of 150 or less.
Right. When you're dealing with cases, there are many areas where you tend to get emotional. Right? How do you balance, in your career, how do you balance emotion with legal matters? How do you find that true balance in your career?
It used to affect me more when I first started. But later on, I can't say you tend to become numb, but obviously you can't, because you can't disconnect mentally sometimes. Even if I leave work, it's still sometimes in my head, and even the same with complicated cases. Yeah.
Fakurba, let's talk about Fakurba.
Fakurba, yeah.
Is an initiative that deeply resonates with the values of compassion and second chances. What makes it so impactful here in Oman? What's the root cause of it being so impactful here in Oman?
I think what makes it impactful is that it's non-discriminative. It applies to everyone who's imprisoned. It's not just for Omanis. It applies to the residents here, and hence why a lot of people everyone is donating. You have even school students are donating, and also because it gives people, second chances. This is our 12th edition. And since the first edition up to now, they have released about 7,000 prisoners. And also, it includes also the persons who have an arrest warrant against them, but yet still didn't get imprisoned before that. Last year, they've reached about 1,219. And hopefully this year we're going to have a bigger number. They start off, obviously there's terms and conditions. We get a list in from all the courts all around Oman, from the enforcement department. And usually we start off with the amounts from 2,000 and less. And once they've all been recovered, and then we start to increase. And surprisingly, we also had a person who was jailed just for the amount of 70 riyals. And it's quite a pity for someone to enforce on that amount, but he has been released from Fakurba.
So many families struggle with financial difficulties, and some end up in legal trouble due to debt. How do you see the role of a legal professional in bridging the gap between justice and social responsibility, especially towards those who struggle to meet the monetary aspect of the legal process?
Yeah, I think lawyers would have a big impact on that. A lot of them do pro bonos. And this way they can help out. The pro bonos don't necessarily mean that you need to go and attend hearings. It could be even as simple as giving legal advice, trying to do settlements between the parties, whether it's a bank, whether it's a company, whether it's a person. And other initiatives like Fakurba play a big part. Not just Fakurba, it would also be Dar al-Rahma, Dar al-Ata, all these associations and foundations that help out people. But usually it's people in debt due to terminations of their jobs, and it could be debts through the banks. They need to have a full study before opening a new company, before opening a restaurant or whatever it is. Before taking a loan, they need to make sure that they have a backup plan as well in order to avoid.
Right.
There was a lady who was in prison years ago, and we also tried to help her. So one of the companies decided to donate the amount and release her from prison.
Right.
Unfortunately, a couple of months later, she already had a rebound check from giving a new check, and it's difficult to help people like that, you know.
Going to a very deeply thoughtful question, what does leadership mean to you, and how has that, how has this platform or your career changed your perspective about leadership?
So leadership to me is not just about making decisions, it's about making changes. It's about having a team that we all have, we have the same aim, listening to them, listening to their views, empowering them, empowering everyone around us. This is leadership to me.
Right. So we live in a time where solutions are delivered at a very rapid pace because of, social media. So if someone is out there looking for legal, answers out there, if they want to know if they're an issue or not, what are the quick do's and don'ts that they can find online right now? Or do you think it's fair, or do you think there's an issue there?
Okay, the don'ts is not to look at social media short videos and take advice from that, because you don't know if someone's talking about a certain case, we don't know the details of the case. Sometimes the lawyer who's they're watching doesn't have enough experience, or he's still a trainee or still starting up. So the do's is to go to a law firm and who specialize in the problem that you have. It's like looking at social media and you see a lot of people talking about this is good for your health or this is not good for your health, and they're making up a lot of things. So you need to make sure from a specialist, a nutritionist, a doctor, it's the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What message would you like to give to the young lawyers out there, aspiring people who want to be in this profession, who want to make a change? What's the message that you want to give them, because something that you would have learned in your career back in the day and you want to impart that to them?
I think in my career, speciality is very important. In Oman, usually we have the lawyers they all study general law and they don't specialize in specific, subjects, like other countries. And speciality makes you special. And so you can get into cases, complicated cases, and interpret them in a different way, and different, looking at different aspects. There's a lot of laws, a lot of cases, a lot of precedents. How much are you going to read, So there's a lot of research in it.
So if you were to look back at your career, right, what is an advice you would give to the young Reem who was looking or probably aspiring to be a lawyer? What is something that you want to tell your younger self?
I would tell myself it's okay not to know everything, because you would eventually know it, because you would know it through experience. Everything is different. It's not just about reading the book and knowing everything. It's about the experience, experiencing the cases, experiencing the court hearings. Yeah.
So thank you, Reem. It was a pleasure to have you. It was a fun conversation and technical at the same time.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time, and for all those who are watching, you want to follow more content on Majlis, keep following TAS.